Okay, everyone, it's January 23rd and our tech time is starting, and I'm excited to hear what ideas you have going on. But I did want to report that from last week, because I sent out that message, booking message, and then added the next message to as a reminder, if they didn't answer my message, that they were going to get a reminder. Well, every one of my messages, I think it was 350 people, they all came back as errors. And but
Figure
then
out what it was?
yeah, I did. And then but then 2 days later they got the reminder. And it turned out it was because um the trackable link that was made was really long. So I shortened it with Bitly, and you can't do that. So
Mm-mm.
they all got the message because there was a Bitly in it. So now I have to go back and touch base with all of those people. And I'm tempted to to set up another campaign, but some people I got a lot of responses on the message reminder, a lot more than I ever ever thought I would. But I don't want to just send out the message again to everybody, because I had a lot of people that responded to the mistake. So I have to do it one. I'm going to do it one by one.
So, Karen, if you can let me share my screen, I want to show you all something.
I will give you power. You have power.
Okay. Share screen. It is. I want to show you. This is what I was going to tell you, but it was so hard to like type everything over the phone for you. I
Yeah.
was just like, I'll just talk to her about it this week. But can you all see my screen yet?
Nope.
Not yet.
Mm-mm.
Here it comes.
It
Here it
says
comes.
your
Probably have a
screen
zillion
sharing, but
things
we can't
open.
see it.
There we go. When you're typing a message to send out, you want to, well, where is the insights?
Isn't that it? The three dots?
No, not showing you in there.
Do you only see it when you're typing the message out instead of?
Probably. Okay, so let's do this. Let's pretend we're doing a new broadcast. Now, Karen, what I want you to see is down here. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Where's the insights? Used to be the little light bulb. Well, I'm jumping.
What happens if you hit the three dots to the right?
I did, and it didn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
It says disable Ava.
Why would you have insights on a message you haven't sent yet?
Well, that's because they're wanting you to check it before you send it. This is what I wanted to show you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hang on, cancel, confirm, cancel.
Go into like you're going to do a text.
Like a text to somebody.
Yeah, I've always used it there.
You have?
Hmm.
I thought you could use it wherever you're doing anything.
That would make
Because
sense.
they want you to check it before.
well, I just started creating a new scheduled broadcast and the light bulb is not there either.
Huh. They used to have a little light bulb,
Yeah.
Karen, where you click on it and it'll tell you
Well,
this
yeah, but
message is
you
too
gotta,
long.
You got to
You
click
have
on it to tell you, right?
Yeah, and it would tell you if you have too many exclamation points and
Yeah,
don't
right.
make everything capital letters
Yeah.
and
I didn't traditionally do that, so I wouldn't have been flagged. So
well, you don't get flagged. You do it yourself. They want
I
you to.
understand.
Yeah.
I understand, but again, if you don't use it, you're not going to get the notification.
Right.
Right.
So anyway, well, I'll
Yeah.
stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, but I wonder what happened to the light bulb.
Maybe they
Yeah, I'm gonna
replaced
keep
it with
looking
that.
here.
Maybe it burned out.
Maybe they needed to change their light bulb and they haven't yet.
So anyway, that was my fault. And I mean, can you think of a way that I mean, I know how to go in and find the people that I sent the message to, but is there a way for me to send the message to the people who didn't respond?
There should be a way to do that if you go into the broadcast. Oh,
Uh-huh.
that didn't respond.
Well, what would happen if you created a new, use the same broadcast, but added another message? And if you have it set up that if if they respond, they're removed. So all these people that are in there that responded shouldn't get the message, but all those that didn't reply should.
Okay, because I want to send a message. I want us to resend the message to those that didn't respond, but I also do want to send a message because they never got the original message. The ones that did respond, like, well, what was the message after all? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'll figure it out.
This is so puzzling to me where Message Insights is. I'm exploring here while we're talking.
Yeah. What else? What is everyone else doing? Dawn, is there something that you need help with? What are you using Project Broadcast for now?
I have birthday club. I have a recipe club. I use it for my customer service. Those are the three big things right now. I used it with my team for a little while, but I did not like that.
No.
I prefer sending personal individual messages.
To your team?
Yeah.
When we have a
That's
training, I do a quick.
started using video or the voice.
You like that, Madeline?
Oh,
I like those. I do. It's
Good.
sweet.
Good.
has anybody played around with that Ava or whatever it's called?
Well, you know what? I think that's what replaced the light bulb. I'm in there right now. And it can either help you revise your message, or if you go into message strength, all of those things the light bulb used to tell us are in there.
That makes really good sense because AI is genius. And it knows all things.
Yep.
Like, oh yeah, God bless Ava.
So I learned about a fun app this weekend called Chat
GPT?
and Ask.
Chat and ask.
I thought it was
Yeah.
Chat GPT.
Chat GPT.
Chat GPT, yeah.
Yeah, I use that all the time. If I need to figure out what hashtags I want to use on a post, I just copy my post and I say hashtags for this caption and I paste it and it pulls up all these amazing hashtags.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And last night, I don't know if you saw my post about meal planning. I did a post about my meal planner and I asked Chat GPT to come up with a caption for me. And I basically just said, give me a caption or give me a caption for it meal plan. But you kind of have to like, what am I wanting out of this? I wanted to find out who's a meal planner and ask them and use emojis. I wanted emojis in there. So who's a meal planner and how do you meal plan regularly and end with a question or something like that and add hashtags. And it gave me this entire post that I was like, oh, okay, that'll work. And I copied it and I pasted it into my
Another fun thing you can do with that too is then, and I learned this from Kim Green, is she'll put in her message and then she'll say, make it funny. And so it'll take whatever and it'll add things to it to make it funny.
Yep. We've done that at a retreat. We were like, give me a lighthearted way of asking somebody to become a Pamper Chef consultant. And it just did this really fun little ask.
That's an app on the phone, right? That's not on the computer.
It's an app.
Yeah. So, Miriam, I'm looking at your post. So is what you have there exactly what it brought back to you? With 4 hashtags. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I normally don't have it write the caption for me, but I was tired and I needed to get a post out yesterday. And I was like, okay, let me see if ChatGPT can give me a good quote or a good post. And I
think
was
it's
like,
great,
that'll work. That
Yeah,
sounds
I
good.
great.
But you kind of have to direct it. You have to tell it, like, end with a question or issue a challenge, use emojis, make it funny. You kind of have to describe exactly what you want your caption to be.
And Michelle, when you downloaded it, there was a choice, right? Because did it give you a choice that you to pay for?
Oh yeah, just use the free. I use the free.
Just to use the free one.
I'll tell you, the only thing I think the only difference is like you can't, like if you want to ask ChatGPT something that happened within the last few days, it may or may not give you the information because they want you to pay for that, but you can go back and ask. Or maybe it's the other way around. If you want to go way back in time about some, I don't know. There's something where it won't do something because you're not paying for it. It's either current stuff or really, really past stuff. Like it only will
So, while we're waiting for Miriam to come back,
give you data.
Well,
Oh,
we
I'm
lost you
here.
for a second, Miriam.
Oh, I'm here.
Rose.
Sorry.
Did we lose you again?
Ooh,
Can you hear me now?
Bless you,
Hello,
hon. We can
hello.
now.
Yep, now.
You're freezing up.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'm here.
We can
Can you hear
hear
me?
you. We can hear you when you ask if we can hear you now, and then we don't hear you.
How about now? And now.
Yeah. Okay.
So what I was saying was you can ask things from GPT up until like the year 2021 or something like that. Anything past 20, like to a current, it won't give you if you're not paying for it. So like if you're wanting statistics about something, it'll only give you statistics up to a certain date. It won't give you current stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I always worry about when I'm downloading an app that it's going
Yeah.
to charge
So
me
they
when
just
it
want
does-
you to pay.
Yeah, when it so it didn't tell me it was going to charge me anything, so I'm assuming that it's free.
Yeah, it is free unless you go in and upgrade it.
Okay.
so I have a question, and it may not be a tech thing, but with tracking in your parties, how are you guys doing it? So I know a lot of you use Table, but what are you using to track? Because I have like a piece of paper, it's upside down, that's just a guest tracker. But what are you guys doing or using when you do multiple parties?
I created my own tracker that has the columns that I want to keep track of.
And I do
What-
mine on my iPad and I have all my parties in one look because I don't want to have to flip a million pages to find different parties. So I just have columns and each column represents a party. And then I have my own coding system in there, like a yellow dot if they order, a pink dot if they would like to book, and then I highlight them in pink if they do book. So I can kind of at a glance go, okay, I got to follow up with that person, follow up with, so I can look at it all on one page. That was just, I liked the other ones. I found that when I was using the ones created by like Stacy Itzel or all these other ones that have all these columns, I wasn't filling everything in accordingly. And then it was like, well, I'm not even doing this. So I came up with my own system. So you just kind of find what works best for you. What does everybody else do?
What are you tracking? So like I track if I sent them a welcome message, and then I usually do like a recipe club invite, and then at the end I started doing like everybody wins type thing. And like I track if they participated at all, or if they liked a post that I post about joining the business. But
It's any
beyond that,
information that you feel is applicable to what you're wanting to accomplish, really.
okay.
I mean, So mine, I literally, when anybody joins a table party, I add them to my tracker because I like to see the list of all the people that are in the party. And then I can also tell if somebody, for instance, if my host posts on her Facebook wall, here's the link to shop, and they don't join table. Well, I know that because when I'm going to put their order on my tracker, their name's not even on there. So I put their name in a different color. So that way I know that person never joined the party, because on my iPad, I could do different colors and stuff. And then also I like to see how many people out of the party are actually shopping. So to me, table parties have a high percentage of shoppers. So I like to see that. So when I have all my names there, I just can tell by all the yellow dots how many have shopped and how many haven't. And then on the day after the party, I'll say, hey, the link is still open. And then I send a message to all the people who did not shop and remind them that the party is still open. And I can see right there from my tracker who did and didn't shop. So, I mean, it's just literally what you want, what you're wanting to follow up with everybody, like however you want to keep track of stuff.
Okay.
What works for some might not work for others. You know, it's like, oh, they're keeping track of this. Like some people keep track of how many times you ask the host. I've asked her 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, whatever. But
I mean, the decision also has to be made, you know, do you want it to be digital? Like Miriam said, she uses on her iPad and she has a special software program she uses to write on her iPad. But, or if you want, you know, if you just want, I mean, I've seen, you know, Becky Adams, who does a zillion shows, she just uses a notebook, you know?
oh,
And
wait,
I know
so
Lori,
there's a physical notebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
She uses a spiral notebook. And so it's just
I know
a
Lori
matter of-
uses a spreadsheet.
Okay, yep.
She says in the welcome post, she just copies all of the names of the people in the party and uploads it into a spreadsheet. And
Yeah.
then she has her columns right there.
I'll bet it's in her files in her sunflower group. I'm looking right now.
Yeah, she talked about that on her, which she did a great job, by the way, at Empower.
Yeah.
She did a great.
She did a great job. The reason why I switched over to my iPad is because I do like handwriting. But I was tired of carrying a notebook and a calendar and all these different things. So I just got one iPad and I do everything on my iPad, and I use the app Notability where I can actually use my Apple Pencil and I write like I'm writing in a notebook. That's how I keep track of a lot of things, is by writing in here. I took all my notes. I have a whole section for Empower in here, and I downloaded all my handouts and I wrote all the handouts. And so everything is right here. I don't have to go keep track of all these papers and stuff. So that's just what I wanted to do and how I found it to be easy for me. And then everywhere I go, I just carry my iPad because I'll take it with me on a trip and everything's right there.
I'm looking in Sunflowers right now, and she actually has a daily task tracker for her business. That's a Word doc, and then she has a guest tracker, which is a PDF. You'd be able to get ideas on what she tracks from that. And then she also has a booking magnet tracker, but I'll bet you she's got one in Excel, like Dawn mentioned. If she does it on a spreadsheet, I'll bet she would download it. She would post it if we ask her.
I was curious what those look like, but if you don't, can you share your screen? Like what are you looking at that she's?
I'm just looking at, and I'm not even looking at the item. I'm just saying what she's posted in her group.
Oh, okay.
I know she does. I think I've seen her spreadsheet. I think I've asked her to see that before, and she's shown it when we were on a call talking about it. But we always say, like, track. But then I'm tracking, but what am I doing with the tracking?
Well, the other important thing about tracking is every time you reach out to somebody. So I have my party trackers, but then I have a tracker for my contacts. So when I'm talking to people, I'm adding them there. So I go, oh yeah, I asked them. So when I did that campaign that we were all talking about, that Michelle was sharing, and you do all these. Well, I had a ton of people follow up and say, I can't right now. And I would respond with, how about the spring? And they're like, yeah, message me back. Well, I'm putting them in there and I'm adding them to my spring ask in my campaigns, but I'm still putting them in there because now I have an overview of, okay, these people said something about maybe March.
Gross.
And I know I've seen some trackers and I just can't remember where I've seen them.
So I know
So when-
I have a big one that I started for all of my reach outs and
Mhm.
stuff. And it's been working really well with asking people to host and everything. But I've been doing the guest tracker and I feel like I'm just writing on pieces of paper to write on pieces of paper.
Well,
And
you
that
should-
seems
I mean,
like a waste of
you
time.
do want to track what's going on in your party. I mean, you do want to know who your rock
You know who to
stars
follow
are.
up with.
And
That
that's what
to
I
me is what tracking is about. It's who am I following up with because they've been interested, they've been active, they've shown interest in a party or the business. It to me it's your to-do list from a virtual party. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a great way to put it.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you do, Madeline,
What's the
just
question?
find what works for you and what makes sense to you. What do you want to get out of your virtual parties? And that's what you'll want to track.
I wouldn't track every like. I mean, I would track if they liked, if they liked something about, if they mentioned something about recruiting and then you touched base with them and that came into an action item. But I mean, I personally I don't think likes are valuable anywhere.
I
Oh,
don't
no.
know. So I have a column for like if they played in a game or if they like participated in the party, and then I have a column for if they participated in one of those posts specifically, then I'm like, okay, well maybe they are interested.
Well,
Which
they're
doesn't happen.
interacting, which is good. And that's always good information to know is that they're interacting.
Yeah. That's what I got.
Excellent. Well, what else is going on?
I want to send out to all of my people who've purchased stoneware in the past, and I know I asked this question in Spaces yesterday, but how can we get the product numbers for the old stoneware?
I mean, if you kept any old catalogs, you could get them
Yeah.
that way, but
Yeah,
I wish there was a way to type in just a product name and just type in like stone.
I know. I know.
instead of listing every item,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Boy, that would be helpful, wouldn't it?
Mhm.
Yes. Can you do it in orders?
can you what?
Would be.
I
You're
mean,
going in and out too, Madeline.
No, you can't. I was thinking that has been garbage last couple of days. Um, I was wondering if there was a way when you look for like a customer, you could just type in stoneware, but I don't think you can.
no, it's too general.
Going forward, you could always create a tag for people that bought higher end or one of the collections, a piece from the collections. Like, so when you have somebody who bought a stone, you could put in a tag that they bought stones.
That's a great idea.
You could do a tag for cast iron or any of the, Brilliance cookware or for anything where we have multiples. And then, which doesn't help for now, but it would help for going forward.
It's a lot of work.
It would. I mean, I wouldn't track a lot of stuff. I would just track the big things, like
Electric.
like let's say they bought the blender and you could put in there that they bought the blender. That way, if we ever get accessories, you can follow up with them and say, hey, we got accessories. I wouldn't do it for everything, but and then I wouldn't do it for each stone. I would just put in stone. I would just make a tag for stoneware or a tag for Brilliance. And that way, when they're on sale again, you can just run a report for anyone who bought the Brilliance. So I wouldn't do it for a lot of things.
You know what?
I don't go
We
into
were
every order and see what they ordered.
We must have talked about this in the fall because I just looked. I have a tag that says stoneware fall 2023.
Yeah, we did talk about it.
Yep.
So you already have a good start
Because
right there.
you
Yep,
you
yep.
could,
I forgot I did that.
for everyone, you could do one for stoneware because stoneware is 60% off. So stoneware, cookware, and then there's the 2 free-for-all months. I don't know what the other months are. I've only been here for 6 months. Those are the only ones I've seen.
Well, they do a lot of anything at 60% off, so yeah,
Okay.
that several times a year.
And
So
even
having
when
one
they
for
haven't
stoneware.
anything 60% off, you could still, if you have a tag for, let's say Brilliance Cookware, you could say, hey, did you want to add to your, how do you love your Brilliance Cookware? Just want to let you know you can get it 60% off this month, or, whatever. So you could run your big ticket items and run a campaign or a message to those people as an idea.
Well, Michelle, I like that, especially for power tools, because I think we just see people all the time that have bought them and they're not using them. So if I've got that tag in there periodically, I can send that personal reach out. Gosh, Bonnie, just wanted to check in, see how that multi-cooker's working in your kitchen. And then if she says, I haven't even taken it out of the box, that gives me that opportunity to do a little customer care with her and give her some ideas. So I love that idea. I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
like that
amazing.
idea for the way you expanded on it, Dawn. That's
Yeah.
a good
And
idea.
I don't use Connection Point. I personally enter all of mine, so it would literally be one click, and I always enter them when I'm entering their order or when they have placed their order. So it would literally be one click to add that tag. So I love that. I think that's a great idea. Because sometimes I worry that I'm reaching out to people, but am I reaching out to them in a personal way? Or is it just, here's Dawn, your Pampered Chef consultant, guess what's going on? But it really hurts my feelings when I see somebody that's paid $300 for a product and they haven't taken it out of the box.
Yeah, I had one lady buy the the quick cooker, and then like 6 months later, I saw she had it on Marketplace, and she didn't return my messages to, hey, do you need help with that?
I tried that one time reaching out to somebody who had an air fryer and was selling it. And I was like, do you want a cookbook for that air fryer? And she was like, no, I want to get rid of it.
Yeah, well, this was one of my hosts I reached out to, so.
This was a stranger.
Yeah, that's why I think with the the customer care is that the follow up right after is important. That just like they've got 30 days if they haven't used it to return it. It's like some work's got to go on before they get perturbed that they haven't used it.
That's a great idea. You can call it a courtesy check-in for a product that they ordered. That's a great idea. That whole creating a tag for the power tools, especially like one for each power tool. And that way you can kind of keep up with them. Hey, speaking of power tools, I was surprised we didn't get any attachments for the mixer. I guess we haven't sold enough of them to.
That's what I was going to say. Everybody was saying, why didn't we get attachments? I said, because I got to get them in more kitchens first.
Yeah,
I think it's more fall. It's a more fall item. I think people bake more in the fall. So I think if they're going to do it, it would be in the fall.
Yeah.
But
oh, I see. You mean add the attachments?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I know people make pasta or anything in the summer.
All year round.
So, yeah. But yeah, it's going to be interesting about the coffee. Probably everybody on here drinks coffee except me. Oh.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That remark goes no place, you guys.
Someone's spilling the beans, huh?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I think we all knew.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Pampered Chef's been hinting at it. I think we all had an idea.
Yeah.
Sorry. Whoops.
Yeah.
When will it be
doing it?
We can't talk about it till February 1. Don't talk about it until you get a message from Pampered Chef.
Don't talk
There you
about
go.
what?
Very good, Bonnie.
Good,
Right.
Bonnie. Very good.
There you go.
Hear no evil.
Right.
So is that when they announce all of the stuff to us?
No, just for directors that did not go to Empower. For everybody, I think it's the 6th.
Might be the 6th.
We are doing our live kickoff on the 3rd. So I'll be announcing them at our live meeting. And
I'll be
Madeline
there.
will be here. Yes.
So excited.
You'll get to put your hands on them.
It's
Yay.
a little later than they usually. Usually we, we do hear a little bit earlier, but what the thing is, we always want to remember that it's easy to get excited about the new products and forget about the time between now and the new products come out. And especially with somebody like you, Madeline, your customers and your friends, everything's new. So
Yeah.
the new products don't really matter to them. For those of us that have been around a while, our customers do want to know what the new products are.
Yeah.
But we want to
Well,
get
'cause
bookings on our calendar for
I-
February.
Yes.
Are you
in.
gonna do something, Karen?
Pardon?
Is Madeline trying to say something?
My computer's garbage. It's fine.
We heard that.
That came through.
Karen, are you gonna do something for the team before the 6th?
Oh, I won't announce it until Pampered Chef announces it.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll do something, but.
I mean, there's the spring launch that's happening over that weekend, so you can do anything during that spring
Right.
launch time.
Right. That's what they told us.
Yeah. But what are you all doing to get bookings on your calendar for February, and how are your Februarys looking?
I'm
Even
gonna
though
send
we
out
still
that
have-
stoneware
You what?
text. I'm gonna send out a stoneware text. That's why I wanted to find out who all my stoneware people were.
You know, it would be a good engagement, like if you do a project broadcast. Have you seen the what's your birthstone image with the stoneware?
Yeah.
You can use that so they're responding to you with what their birthstone is, and then you can follow up with them that way.
You could do that on Facebook too.
You could do it on Facebook, but I'm saying you can also do that as a project broadcast to all of your stoneware lovers and all your stoneware people and say, hey, you're one of my stoneware owners. Which is your birthstone?
Then you got to figure out who your stoneware owners are.
Yeah,
If
that's
you've
the
been kept-
problem.
Well, that's what I was saying. She already has a tag with them.
Some
So,
of
but
them.
in Facebook, it's just kind of like a general thing. And then you can follow up with them and maybe get a booking and say, how would you like to get that piece in your kitchen? That's just a cute. I think Pampered Chef actually has that on marketing imagery,
Yeah, I think so.
the birthstone one. Yeah, of course, I'll probably be doing my birthday asks here.
So you do that in Facebook, right, Miriam?
Nope, I do them on Project Broadcast.
Okay, well, I only have like 5 people in each of my months, so I don't really get much response from that, so.
So I'll tell you what I've been doing. I think I'm all caught up. I sometimes go through it because I mean, I become friends with more people, but I go every month. What I have been doing for the past year is I open up my Facebook parties or my Facebook birthdays
Hmm.
and I add them to my project broadcast. I'll say, oh, she's one of my friends and her birthday's in April or whatever. So I'll mark April 1st on hers. And in project broadcast, I do everybody on the 1st of the month. So that way, when I send out my message, it's just happy upcoming birthday. And it doesn't matter the date. So I just search for all the, February 1st birthday people, which will be everybody because that's what I have it set up as. But I've been doing that. So now I've built up and I have an ask in my party in one of my coaching, my guest coaching. I'll say, hey, I'd love to have you as a part of my birthday club. Message back your birth month and I'll add you to it. And so I also get them that way. And as soon as they respond, I just open up their contact and add their birthday in there. So, I mean, there's different ways you can build that up.
It's easier than what I do. I've got a notebook for each month. Well, a notebook, about 2 pages, and I write down their name and what their birth date is.
Do you do a page per month?
Yeah, well, it's kind of 2 pages per month because I figure it'll grow.
Yeah.
But then I send them birthday cards the week before their birthday.
Wow, that's a big job.
That's really nice.
Yeah. Hi, Joanna.
Hi,
Hi, Joanna, good to see you.
nice to see you too. Sorry I'm late.
No, I'm glad you're here. So who's Megan, what you got anything going on?
Not really. I'm just working on wrapping up my January and
Okay.
getting bookings for February. I've
Okay.
got a couple parties right now that are getting ready to close, and yeah, so nothing really new going on with me, just working.
Should probably
So
ask what's going on with recruiting. Are you
Mhm.
doing any recruiting reach outs?
Working on it, trying. I do
That's
have
what
a
I'm gonna
couple
do
people
today
lined
is
up that
reach
I'm
out-
working on, so I've been reaching out to them regularly.
Who has a tag for potential consultants?
I do.
How
I
often
ha-
do you reach out to
one.
them?
once a month usually. I don't ever hear anything back from any of them, so I got a list of questions that from our retreat, Karen from Sonia, that she asked her recruit lead. So I'm going to start asking questions about their interest. You know, are they still, you know, kind of thing, or what would you? I don't remember what her questions are, but she had some good ones in there. She's called them lame, but she said they do spark conversation. So I'm going to start doing that.
I think it's just great to keep in contact with them, not even recruiting related or, you know, I mean, I don't know. It's just,
The two that I'm working on are actually like they've been my loyal customers who buy all the time. They're in every party, they're in my VIP groups, they're my recipe club, they're my everything. So I have that relationship with them, which is really nice because then I can actually just call them and be like, hey, guess what? You know, and just have more of like a friendly conversation about it versus, hey, I want to recruit you, you know?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, I think because I haven't gotten any responses from anybody in a while, I'm going to ask them on a scale of 1 to 10 what their interest is, so that I can kind of get a gauge of, you know, what kind of interest they have, you know, and whether or not, then I can develop a conversation around that.
I think that's a little pushy myself. I think if you're reaching out to them for another reason, you know, are you loving your what it is? You know, what recipes have you tried? Are you loving your products? And spark a conversation that way, and you know, and then a
That's a
couple
good
maybe
idea.
it's going to take some groundwork, but then it might get around to, hey, I know you thought about it, or and like in Meg's case, it's like you love Pampered Chef, and that was going to be my next comment was when you have people, and you know, for those of us that have been Pampered Chef a while, we do have people who are always buying things, who are always, and you know, I think of, you know, who comes to my mind, Dawn, is Dana Gotti, because she pays so much attention to what's going on between your business and my business, and I'm like, she needs to come back to Dawn's team, you know what I mean? It's like, but I see these people, um and then once in a while, again, if you're, and if they are in your VIP group and they're attending your lives or whatever, it might be, hey, did you know the special that's going on? You know, then it's not so cold, it's not such a cold reach out. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like you're paying attention to what's going on, you're making it more personal, and um but we have to be aware that that's happening. Does that make sense? And I think that sometimes we're not aware, we don't think that, um because we never want, you know, our first thing to talk about, you know, unless, you know, again, unless they've been on the fence for a while and you're keeping in contact, they've asked you to keep in contact with what the specials are, that's kind of a different story. But if that's not the case, then it's best to start, you know, to use a back door. It takes more building and it takes more time, but it's also great practice, right?
So when you guys say you're booking leads, are they people that you think would be great for it, or are they people that have already said, I'm interested, but not right now?
Are we talking about bookings or recruiting?
Recruiting.
For me, it's people that I have had a conversation with. You know, they were in a party and I had a conversation with them and they did not say no. You know, they said, it sounds interesting. It's not a good time. I might be interested when I retire or whatever. Those to me are what I consider leads.
Okay.
I also think it's people that you think would be great, but they don't know it yet. I really
Okay.
enjoyed working with you. You've been a
Yeah.
perfect host, you know. I know this might be the furthest thing from your mind, but have you considered? But you've got a groundwork there. You're not just saying, you know. I mean, there are times it's appropriate to say, you know, come on. Come on.
Do this.
Yeah, yeah. Because people are watching you. Your family members are watching you. Your neighbors are watching you. Your friends are watching you. Your hosts are watching you. You know, they're watching your success and how you handle it. You know, I mean, if you're discouraged and you're telling your husband and your kids, you know, this is awful or whatever, you know, or your family or your cousin or whatever, and they're like, well, you know, they're like, well, maybe it's not so good, you know, but sometimes we have to be proud of what we do because people are watching us. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think it's really important to spend some time to think about the recruiting incentive we have. I mean, every month, you know, every month is a good month to start a Pampered Chef business. And that needs to be, I think, part of what our plan is, especially if we do want our business to grow. Remember, you know, and we talked about that this weekend, and Pampered Chef talked about it, that, you know, part of our job is it's not just selling, you know, it's selling, booking, and helping people see the value in our business and how we can bless them and help them. So I'd love to hear if you have any other ideas on how we can reach out for recruiting. If nothing else, to create a tag this week, right?
Yeah, and if those of you are Connection Point users, if they indicate that they would like, that they're interested, it automatically creates a tag for them. So that's good too.
Does that happen very often?
It happens, and I've had several where they didn't mean to check it, but they did. So it pays to follow up. You never know.
So I have a funny story.
Oh, good.
I went to do my first in-home party this weekend, and it's a neighbor, and I walked in and she said, you know, I don't have many coming. One of my friends I invited, you know, she had a party and she invited these friends, and she said she wouldn't come because she already has a dealer, is what she called her. And I said, oh, that's too bad. She said, yeah, some girl out of Mesick. And I said, huh, do you know what her name is? And she's scrolling back through her thing. Meg Fulkerson.
You dealer, you.
Yeah,
Right.
dealer.
That's funny.
At least she's a legal dealer.
Yeah, correct. That you know of.
As soon as she said Mesick, I knew it had to be Meg.
But I will tell you, you know, when I lived in the Detroit area, I lived in a 1 mile square little village, and there were 4 consultants in 3 blocks of where I lived.
Wow.
And I did
Wow.
more business than all of them put together.
Well, you know, when I lived in La Crosse area, I know of 1 senior director, 3 or 4 advanced directors, about 10 directors, all within a 50-mile radius of La Crosse, and I had no problems doing 3 parties a week, and I was booked for a year. So it doesn't matter how, even if you just do cooking parties, it really doesn't matter if there's a lot of consultants there.
So with that, one thing that I have realized, and I don't know if it's just a normal thing, But on the Pampered Chef website, if you look for like Pampered Chef consultants in your area, it only shows directors.
That's correct. That's a perk of directorship.
Is there a reason? Because when I had started, I was like, oh, there's nobody selling Pampered Chef in our area. There's a lot of people in our area that sell Pampered Chef. They're just
Yeah,
not
but
all
most of them are probably only doing one party a month, if that much.
Yeah.
So don't let that worry you. And that is a perk of being a director. And so unless somebody knows your name to search for you specifically, they aren't gonna find you as a consultant.
And think about, Pampered Chef wants to connect new customers with
so I wasn't
people
sure if it was
who, with people who are a little more serious about their business, and they would make they would exert that someone who is a director takes their business a little bit more seriously than a consultant.
That makes sense. I can see that.
Yeah. It makes sense. I just was like, oh, that's weird.
And that's why there's a lot of things out there. I mean, that's why we have a leadership conference. That's why we have special things at conference. Those are incentives. They're not to be like, oh, no, you can't come. No, you're not included. No, it's to help you see the benefits of that level. Yeah. So I hope that you see it that way. Because we sure had fun this weekend.
We sure
Yes, we
did.
did.
So love to have you all here.
That's what I was going to say. And we would love to have y'all all there next time.
Yeah. We'll rent a bigger house.
Oh, you rented a place?
or add on.
Can you invite the
Your
firemen?
Your screen porch will be ready by then, Karen.
Yeah, I'll sleep out there. But I don't know, it was cold. Yeah, I know. Yeah, did you all hear I had a little fire here on Wednesday?
Yes, I saw your post.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, now I've decided, well, since it would have been great to have had the stove reinstalled on Saturday, so we would had it to use on Saturday and Sunday. But since it's not, I want to have another electrical outlet installed. I had my handy guy here this morning planning to do that, because I can do without my stove another week, so.
And you know what? We cooked for 8 people for 3.5 days using all of our electronics tools, and it was just perfect.
I just went live on my VIP page and did a little food prep using the air fryer. And I told them, I said, we were at a leadership retreat this weekend with no oven, no stove, and Pampered Chef to the rescue. And told them about, we made steaks and baked potatoes, and people need to know that,
Yeah.
we make
Lori did-
excuses for why we can't cook, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know Lori did that little reel she did about when she was cooking the steaks on the grill and griddle.
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh my gosh. That's working smarter, not harder. I mean, it's perfect. But yeah. So I'm glad you thought it was perfect. I didn't think that part of it was, because I like to get up and bake fresh muffins and do all that kind of stuff like before people get up, and I couldn't do any of that, but we weren't hungry, that's for sure.
Well, we certainly weren't hungry, and I don't feel like we missed out on anything because the food we had was so good. So
Good.
And we got to see the true value of what we offer.
You're
You
right.
know?
You're right, Dawn.
yep. And now we have some awesome video and photos that we can use to promote our product
Yeah.
that we wouldn't have had if you had your stove and oven.
We were at a house in New Hampshire that we rented, and we were like really missing our Pampered Chef tools. So I actually said to my crew, like, we should do this at one of our houses next time. So
Isn't that interesting?
yeah.
Or you just pack everything up and take it with you. That's what
We
we
packed a
did.
bunch of things. So we had like a 12-inch stainless pan. We had the multi-cooker. We had a knife set, but it just isn't, it's like, where's this? Where's that? Like, and then I was making a Brussels sprout salad and I had to actually like finally chop the Brussels because none of us remembered to bring our rapid prep mandolin. We're like, where is it? How do we cook without our stuff? So it actually, I would prefer to not have the stove and have all of my Pampered Chef stuff. Really?
Well, your dream came true, Joanna.
Yeah, really. Not even kidding. I think it makes it easier to have all of the tools and you make it work versus like using, we put the cookie sheet in the oven and we heard it pop, you know, when they like twist right away. We're all like, oh.
Well, there's pluses and, there's pluses and minuses to it all, right?
Yeah,
There
of
you go.
course, of
There you go.
course.
So it's nice to hear that you all got together too, Joanna.
Yeah, it was great. It was really good.
So, okay, anything, what else? Anyone else got a project they're working on they can share?
Did anybody else do any mystery host? Or are you going to try doing a mystery host?
I am going to.
I'm doing one.
Are you? Is it going well?
It is going well. I've not sent out a project broadcast or a customer connection. I've just been doing it, by personally reaching out and my VIP group.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with the right words to say though, so that I'm not breaking the rules of pay to play.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I set up a mystery host party in August that I use through January, and then I I do a drawing for the rewards the first week of February, and then I'll start a new one that will go through June, and then in July they get, so I do it twice a year and they get their double host rewards. So anytime somebody asks me for a link, just randomly, if someone reaches out and says, can I have a link to shop? Do you have any open parties? I send them that and then they get an entry. And it goes like, it's like already, I haven't sent out anything specific to it, which I'm planning on doing this week. Just like we're wrapping it up. We're going to have a drawing. Somebody's going to win the rewards. It's already up over $800. So, the rewards are just from like random orders throughout the year.
So
Oh, poor Madeline.
She's
the
frozen.
host rewards, always frozen.
Yeah, you were frozen. We just heard so.
So are the host rewards
Maybe type it in the
always something
chat.
consistent?
Madeline, yeah, that's a good idea. Type it in.
Maybe
just
type in the
something.
chat. And we
Type
can
it in the chat, Madeline.
The host rewards are usually double in July, but there's never any guarantees.
No, and I don't guarantee it.
Yeah. So, I mean, and you could offer it yourself too, if you wanted to, which is.
Yeah, I don't ever tell them that it's doubled. I just
Right.
tell them I have, like, if they ask for a link, I say, oh yeah, I have, I always have a link where it's a mystery host and I will do a drawing. I do a drawing every 6 months. And then now that it's coming up, I will send a message out saying they're double rewards. It's already up to $330 for free.
Mhm.
So I'm sure I'll get some orders that come in now as a result of that, and then it will go up even more.
Right. So it's important that you understand that, Madeline. You know what, I just learned over the years, and Joanna's great because she does, you don't share it, but I don't assume anything with Pampered Chef. I never believe anything until I see it in writing.
I know there's usually there's trends that it
Yes.
typically happens, but when you don't know the trends, it's hard to know
Right,
what's
right.
Well, it's kind of nice not
Sometimes
knowing the trends,
ignorance
but
is
then
a
you
good
don't
thing, though.
expect it.
Yeah, agreed. Because if you assume that June is going to be a double host rewards month, and then if they pull a fast one on us and don't do it this year.
Yeah, they
Some-
like to be predictably unpredictable.
Yeah, and you don't want people to put their party off till June. I'll wait and have mine in June so I get double rewards. So sometimes it's not so bad to not know.
Mhm.
And if you have hosts that have hosted in a double rewards month in the past, they're like, oh, yeah, can I get double rewards again this coming June? Well, It hasn't been
Maybe.
announced, so I'm assuming no until we hear otherwise. So
Yeah.
sometimes it gets them to book a party early because we don't know.
Okay.
And that's why it's always good to have a good, consistent, solid business. So we're always ready. And Project Broadcast will help us there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
You know, with the new catalogs coming out, you can do the hot off the press campaign.
mhm.
Yep.
You know, we probably should talk about that next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we could start doing it even like, February's out, it's a short month and it goes by fast. And those last weeks of February, those hosts, you can just hold off on submitting their party so they can get the March rewards.
Mm-hmm.
Can you or Dawn, can we do one night on
You
that?
better put it in the chat, Madeline. We can't understand you.
Honey. Y'all reading the chat, making sure?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's typing.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Can we do one of night trainings on the hot off the press?
We can, yeah. Dawn, did you do a hot off the press?
No, I don't even know what y'all are talking about.
Oh, okay. I'll plan that for next week, Madeline.
I did it in the fall, but I didn't get on the bandwagon until late in the game because I
Mhm.
hadn't heard about it until probably the end of October. And my November was phenomenal, and most of it was from that. So I was like ready to give up my business. I had no bookings, I couldn't
Oh,
get them. And then
no.
I did that, and it was like I just got that boost that I needed.
Wow.
So definitely, if you haven't done it, do it. If you did it last fall, do it again for the spring. Make it sound a little different. But people got really into it. I had a ton of bookings, and a lot of them were just they were just the like catalog type, but some of those did great. I
Yeah.
set them up in table. Some of them were $600-700 parties. Others didn't hit the 200, but I still got sales. I had like 20 of those that it adds up.
Yeah. Yeah.
One idea can change your whole life. Look what happens
Yes.
there.
Yes, I
And
can.
it could be, you never know what it's going to be. It's going to spark something.
Yep.
And
So speaking of that, has everybody done the more recent one that's been flying around? There's a project.
Birthday.
Sorry?
The birthday.
No, it's not birthday.
It's the one to your 2023 people.
Yes. Yeah. I know a lot of people who've been struggling to get bookings this month, and we all did it, and it was like all of a sudden we had a whole bunch of bookings.
please be a little bit more explanatory about that.
Yeah, I was I was trying to. It's a message in Project Broadcast. Whittle it down to only people who, so you do the search bar and search for people who've responded to you in the last year. That whittled it down for me, taking those out and my do not message. It got down to 330 people. And I had over 100 people respond to me. So you get a really high response rate. I did it as a campaign. The first message went out saying, I just wanted to thank all of my customers from 2023. Wanted, just whatever, like I can give the message in our streamline. But basically, thank you for being one of my customers in 2023. And then I wanted to let you know that this is the special for January. It's one of the best ones you'll see. It's double host rewards. Or would you be interested in seeing if you can get to the double rewards? And I got a few bookings right away, and then anybody who didn't respond, I set it up as a drip campaign. So I took out people who responded, yes or no. Anybody who didn't respond got a second message the following day saying, hey, I just wanted to make sure you saw my message from yesterday. I don't want to leave you out if you are interested. what do you think, or something like that. And with the second message, I got tons and tons and tons of responses. I set up a template that I could respond back to people with the template, so it was nice and easy. That just said, totally get it. I know people are busy this time of year. Would you like for me to reach out to you in March when the new catalog comes out? And I think I got 70 people who said yes, or yes, please, or sure. So I
That's a-
have it was a really good response rate. I only got I think I got 3 bookings from that, like now, but I got a lot of responses and a lot of follow-up with me laters.
If I'm
That's
not
exactly what I
mistaken-
did, and that's what I got my air on, because what happened was, Joanna, was I added one of our team, Lori Coleman did a great newsletter through a template, and I wanted to add it, and I bit.ly'd it by mistake. And so
Oh,
that the first message all went to errors.
oh no.
And then they got the message saying response, but I got a great response. So yes, I think many of us did that and got a good response too.
Yeah,
And just
it's
a
one of
little-
those like shaking things up and helping people who are feeling stuck.
Yeah,
Jana-
when I whittled mine down, it was like, I think mine went out to over 1,000 people, and I had so many messages. I had to cancel the third reminder because I just could not keep up with responding to everybody. It was so many. But one thing, if they absolutely wanted nothing to do with anything, I thanked them anyway. And I just said, hey, would you like to be added to my recipe club? My recipe club jumped from 82 people to 152 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
It
great.
was huge. So now I've got all these people that want to get recipes from me. So that was a good
That's
way to
great.
continue that service, even though they didn't do anything else with me. So I was like, oh, okay, cool.
But that
Good.
service will eventually lead to sales.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's
We
outstanding.
did that, but we didn't have the great follow-up wording you had, and I was trying to write it down quickly. Would you
Could you
mind
share that,
sharing
please?
in the
Oh, yeah.
spaces?
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem at all.
Yeah, put
Thank
that.
you.
And I think we probably need to add Dawn to the spaces. So Michelle, you're muted.
Dawn, I'll put my project broadcast number in the chat, then you can text me from your project number. And I can add you,
Okay.
because it only works with project broadcast numbers.
Right. Yeah, and Miriam, when you followed up with your recipe club message, was that part of the campaign, or was that a message you sent just from people that?
I created that as a template. So all I did was put in and I just called it hashtag, I don't remember, no, or something like that. And
Okay.
that way as soon as they said that, it said the same thing, and I just added them to my recipe club. But no, that was a template.
Okay.
So I had a template, and then I made a hashtag, like a text replacement that was my timing, because they're like, I can't at this time. And I said, I totally get it if now's not a good time. I'm super busy as well. What about if we, try something closer to the spring? That's when our new products come out. Can I reach back out to you? And they're like, yes. And so then I would immediately add them to my March campaign. That means they're going to get a message from me in February asking with my March dates.
Which reminds me, Miriam, actually what I wanted to make sure I mentioned before the end of this, my goal this week is to have that system set up. And I thought I was looking, I thought under my tags, I had each month, so that, because what I'll do is I'll say, please, if let me know what month you're interested in by, and then I can put them in the campaign to contact them that month. I thought I had done all that, but it looks like I hadn't, because that would be a keyword, correct?
Well, I created a campaign
Okay.
for every month.
Okay.
So it's a campaign that says, hey,
Okay.
last time we talked, you had mentioned, you were interested in doing something. It's an exciting time. Our new products come out March 1st. So here's my next date in March. Does that work for you? And I have it as a campaign. So if they don't respond to me, then it follows up the next day. And then if they still don't respond, it follows up 2 days after that. So I have them all set up as like a 3-message campaign, because I want to make sure it's easy for them to get slipped out and forgotten if they don't answer you and you don't have a follow-up system set up. So I always make sure that I do that kind of stuff with a follow-up.
Okay, let's talk about that next week too.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
I was going to go back in and tag them all, but I had so many responses and I was replying to them all while I was in New Hampshire with the Empower stuff going on. So I have to go through the whole list, and I don't know about you guys, but, or maybe there's a way to do it. I find Project Broadcast to not be very user friendly when it comes to trying to find like old, even recent messages. They go out of order. You can't figure out who said what. It's very hard to go back through.
I'm with you, Joanna.
Wait, what do you mean?
So like if you're in Messenger and you go back through, all the messages are in order of like when you sent them. If you go into Project Broadcast and you're trying to go through and look at your most recent responses, they're all out of whack. They're not just in order.
It's in the order that their responses come in.
So mine are in like some weird order where I'll have somebody from like a year ago who I haven't talked to in the middle of the messages that I sent out on Friday.
Huh.
You might have to change
might-
your filter.
Well, that, and I also think that if they responded to you and you never responded to them, they're still sitting there.
Okay. I usually respond to people.
Maybe, I mean, I could be wrong, so.
I'll have to take a look. I know I need to take a look anyway, because I need to try to figure it out so that I can give everybody tags who said like, check back with me. Yes, to checking back with them in March. I was going to tag them and then create a campaign.
You know what? I think we need to spend more time figuring out what the star means, what the dots mean.
Well, the stars they mean nothing. You apply them. So like whenever I have a batch of hosts, I star all of my hosts. So that way, if I need to communicate with my hosts, instead of sending them a paid message, I just pull up my starred messages, and we can look at it next week, but I pull up my starred messages and they're all my hosts. And so I just go to the first one and I type my message and say, oh my gosh, you're only $200 away from hitting 650. But I'll use that same exact message, copy it, paste it into the next one, but change her total. So maybe she's only $60 away from 650. And, and that way I can say, oh my gosh, guess what? And it's easy for me to see my hosts because they're starred. They're all right there. I just go down that list rather than scrolling and going, now where's so-and-so, or searching for her. They're just all right there. We can look at that next week. The star is nothing except what you want it to be.
Okay.
Yeah. I use it when I usually use it when I'm on my phone. I'm not at my desk. I'm not prepared to respond to somebody, but I've seen their message and I know I need to respond to them. I'll star them so that I can then do a search by the stars and know who I need to respond to. But I like the idea with the hosts. It would be okay to have both of those things because I don't usually have a lot of people who I'm like, oh, I need to remember to reply to her when I get back to my computer.
I'm so happy they brought back the blue dot, the blue thing with the number of messages you have unread. That is like so wonderful because when they took that away, I was like, all it would say that the little dot was blue, meaning you got unread messages. And I was like, oh.
Okay, so then the little dot next to chat that says 87, that means I have 87 people that I need to respond to.
Now you can filter them. So if you go to in your chat, you can hit the lines that
Yes. Set unread, starred, scheduled.
Yeah, you can click to all your unread, and then you can just go right down the list and message them back.
Okay. It's
Instead
not
of
telling
having
me
to
how
go
many
find
there are
them.
there, but.
Say that again.
It's not telling me how many are there for unread.
Well, it won't tell you there. What's unread is it says it right next to the chat, however many, 87.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll say it until you open up the chat and then it goes away. Like once you open up the chat, even if you have messages that are unread, it like takes those away, like you've been in.
It'll
But
go
they
down.
will show up in your unread when you do
Okay.
the 3 lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can do the 3 lines to get your starred messages too. So you like, that's an easy way. If you have a whole bunch of hosts, you can do what Miriam does. That's a really smart idea. Or if you have like, let's say you got 80 responses to a campaign and there are some people who asked a specific question that you don't have the answer to right away, you can star those people and then just do the 3 lines, find who your stars are and quickly respond to them when you're back in your.
I guess I had my work cut out for me. I can't wait for it to be 15,000 like I do with emails, right?
Do you really want to have 15,000?
Not on here, but I do have it in email. Anyway. All right, you guys, it was a great session. And so let's maybe next week you want to work on getting your booking leads into certain months so that you remember where to contact them. And you know what? And remember, are we asking people, are we rebooking them so that we have people to put in those months, right? Again, it's trying to remember, how can we be of service to people in terms of, is it time to touch base with them about joining our team, or time to touch base with them about booking a party, because with the new catalog coming out, we should have a lot of people who are interested in, parties, right?
Yeah, my thing is trying not to skip over February. It's a tough month for me to get bookings, and I'm, if I jump ahead even in my own brain to March and new catalog, I'm gonna have a bad February.
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
think you were on the call when we were talking about this, Joanna, but we talked about using I had suggested the stoneware. What is your birthstone image, and sending that out, posting it on Facebook or putting it out in a Project Broadcast Blast. And as people respond to that, you can message them about maybe getting that at 60% off. That and their second favorite, because they get 2. Remember, they get 2 stoneware pieces.
Nice.
So, I mean, I know February, everybody needs to make sure you're ready for February before March comes along. So,
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Right.
usually a little bit of a tough month.
Right.
Sandwich
We're gonna turn that around.
The new catalog, it's like you
Yeah.
got January that's great and March that's great. So this short little February gets lost sometimes.
I know a couple people on here that have great February, so yeah, there we go. And Dawn, we are going to be just rooting you on tonight. We're so excited for your presentation. And you're making risotto, right? You're making risotto?
Yes.
Okay.
It's you tonight?
Yes.
It is me
Oh,
tonight.
that's so exciting.
Yes.
When I
Are you
signed up for
excited?
this-
I'm excited. I'm a little nervous.
You'll be great.
Oh, you'll be great.
You'll be great.
I'm excited
We're gonna
to
be giving
see
you
you
hearts,
now.
hearts, hearts.
I love it when I know the person. My upline did it, and then somebody from my org did it the week after. So
Oh,
we had
fun.
in a row where I was like, oh, I know this person. It's so much more fun.
Joanna, who's your upline again?
Sherry Baker.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, she's
Well,
great.
All right,
She
you
did
guys.
it, I think in August. So yeah, it was good.
All right, you guys have a great day. Thanks so much for joining us.
Enjoyed it. Thanks.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Have a
Bye,
good
everybody.
night.